Like, you don't get this close to music royalty this often, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The first question I want to ask, though, is about jazz in general. Is jazz dead?
Oh, I don't think so.
No.
I know too many cats. Can't be dead.
Huh?
I know too many guys who play. Can't be dead.
And you still have legends here, you know, that are pushing the music. So no, it's not dead.
So it's not, because there aren't very many musical platforms like radio stations, and the younger generation, they're not really into jazz like it once was. You could go to a speakeasy, or you could go to a nice intimate juke joint, a club, and just chill, relax with your wine, you know what I'm saying, and enjoy a little jazz. That doesn't happen too often, or am I out of touch?
No, I mean, it's a larger audience in Europe, in Japan, and Asia than it is, sad to say.
So America is maybe not too kind to jazz right now.
Off.
You're saying no.
All forms of American music are more popular overseas than they are here.
Even R&B, huh?
Yeah, everything. Yeah. They just have a different appreciation. They have a different way of consuming it. It's just, you know, when we spent all year going to different premieres and film festivals for the documentary, and you know, we wrapped up in London, and they just had such a different take on it. Like, they were so like hungry for it. They were like, how come you didn't mention Miles's relationship with the UK in the movie? And I was like, all right, take it easy.
Oh, look, it was only a 2-hour movie. Yeah. Speaking of the movie, Birth of the Cool, which is his first album.
No, it's not his first, but it's
1948, 49, around that time?
Yeah.
Right after he was playing with Charlie Parker.
Yeah.
So, but it wasn't his first album?
Was that his first?
No. It was one of the records after he had won a scholarship. Not one, he had a scholarship to Juilliard.
Right.
And he
dropped out.
He said what he learned on the streets at Birdland was more than what he could learn at Juilliard. You know?
Oh, yeah.
So he went to seek out Charlie Parker, and that was his education. So
everybody at home and here can know who the son is and who the nephew is. Erin, you are Miles Davis's son.
Yeah, I'm his youngest son.
His youngest son.
Yeah.
And you are Miles Davis's nephew.
And my mom was Miles' sister.
Your mother
yes,
was Miles'
yes,
sister.
Older sister by
older
1 year.
Sister. Yeah. So, do you play?
Yeah, I play drums and guitar.
Do you play as well as your father?
Man, I would never say anything like that.
No one can say that, but you...
I don't even...
You can't even touch it.
I'm pretty modest anyway, but I wouldn't say anything like that. I mean, I like to try to push myself to learn stuff that I wouldn't normally learn. But those are the things I got from him, you know, like those kind of, that approach to learning, that approach to studying music. You know, like once you get comfortable, you're done. You have to keep going. You gotta keep pushing, keep trying to, you know, trying to learn something different, get a different sound.
What made Miles Davis cool?
I don't know. He just came out that way. He just showed up that way.
But there's got to be something that...
I think as soon as he got his horn, his dad bought him his first horn, that was it.
Yeah, my grandmother wanted him to play violin. And he was like, no.
But that's not, I mean, it's cool. I love violin, but you can't.
You can't be cool with the violin?
I don't know. Like,
I didn't know you could be.
You can be.
I didn't know you could be cool with the trumpet, but clearly he proved us all wrong. I mean, not a lot of people running around here with trumpets going, yeah, baby, what's up?
Yeah,
you know?
He made it cool. and like, you know, Tammi, we talked earlier, you know, I live with Erin and Uncle Miles in Malibu, and he was the first one up in the morning, the last one to go to sleep at night. But he would change clothes like 6 and 7 times a day. I don't know anybody to change his clothes like that. You know, you look around, he'd have another outfit on. You know,
just in the house.
Oh yeah. And I saw him with jeans on one time, maybe some overalls when he was painting, because he painted. You know, but he was clean all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, all the time.
You told me money was never an object. If you went in the store, he had a saying, "Don't look at the price tag."
He did for him, not for me. He told me never to look at the price tag. I'm like, Uncle Miles, I don't make the money you make. Don't look at the price tag. And so he would go. He could he could rack up like $50,000 worth of clothes, and he'd just point, you know, and then and then he'd leave, and then they'd box it up and send it to him.
What kind of father was he, Erin? You were the last, right?
Yeah, I actually.
So usually the last gets the best of the parent. Is that true or false in your?
Absolutely, I think so.
Why?
Well, I mean, he had 3 kids, and you know, I was much younger. I am much younger, and I don't know. You know, he'd already become, you know, Miles Davis when I got there. I was born in '71, so he was already just finished like Bitches Brew and, you know, all the stuff before that. When my sister and my 2 brothers were born, he was still building his career. He was, I mean, under 20.
Did you know growing up that your father was a legend? Did you know he was this?
I mean, I heard, you know,
insane.
I knew who he was, and I went to visit him. My mom took me over there a few times when he wasn't playing in the '70s. And she had, you know, he had sent her all of his Columbia records. So we had them all in the house. So I used to look at all the spines and pull them out and see what was what. And I didn't always put them on because you know, I have my own personal taste of what I wanted to hear at the time.
You're like, I don't want to listen to my daddy's stuff.
Well, I mean, I was just like vibing the album covers for a minute. I was like, man, like that Bitches Brew cover, I still think it's like one of the great album covers.
Yeah.
One of the all-time great.
Every musician has said that they were inspired, motivated, or that Miles Davis was their hero from, we can just start at Prince, you know, but the list goes on and on and on. Why do you think that to be so? Vince?
Because when you're a musician, you aspire to always reach for it. You know, like you don't want to peak. You want to have aspirations to improve your craft. And Miles, Uncle Miles had the blueprint for that. You know, he never wanted to rest on his laurels. He never wanted to look back. He changed music 4 or 5 different times in his career. And so as musicians, that's what you want to do. You want to stay current. You know, I don't want to play R&B that I played in Chicago in the basement back in the
That's what I don't
70s
understand
and 80s.
about Miles Davis. He played several different genres of music along his route. Why did he become so popular for jazz versus the bop or R&B or any other thing that he journeyed into?
I think it was because he was a trendsetter, you know. So you always have to have a leader or some, you know, people used to say, well, what is Miles wearing tonight? Or what kind of car did he get, you know? And I remember Bill Cosby said that it was cool to have a Miles Davis album on the subway in Philly, because then you were cool, you know. So it was a movement, you know, that still exists. You know?
Yeah, Don Cheadle did the movie Miles Ahead. What I didn't know that I found out was that not only did Prince put money into that movie, but Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart, yeah, sure.
I didn't even realize Kevin Hart had that much money at the time. I mean, I don't know. I didn't even know that, like, I don't know. There's a disconnect between Miles Davis and Kevin Hart to me, I guess. You understand what I'm saying?
Well,
so how did that happen? Like, how did Kevin Hart say, well, yeah, let me add a little money to that?
I think it was Cheeto, right?
Well, we had a crowdfunding to finish the movie. Like it was already pretty much done, but just to kind of get over the last bits of post-production, they did this really cool crowdfunding on Indiegogo, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's when they started bringing in guys like that. Some were anonymous donors,
Right.
But you know, I think Kevin, we were grateful for his contribution. It really helped.
So just a lot of people in the entertainment
Prince was
industry found out about it.
Yeah, Prince came in anonymously. He didn't want anybody to know.
He did a lot of stuff anonymously.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his thing. Yeah. So talk to me about Birth of the Cool, this new documentary, which is literally footage of Miles Davis throughout his life, right?
Yeah, I mean it's a comprehensive look at his life, from his beginnings in the Midwest, Alton, Illinois, East St. Louis, on up through New York, and on through his career.
And it's Grammy nominated. How is it Grammy nominated? So it has to be heavily musical.
Well, they have a
Grammy
category
nominated?
that's films about
Best music film?
films. Yeah,
Best
they have a
music film?
category for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Music documentaries, right? That's a
Something like that.
music documentary.
Y'all don't even know what y'all nominated for up in here.
No, we are for music documentary.
Music documentary.
Yeah, against
Okay.
Beyonce. Shit, I voted. Shit, I had to know.
Look, did you vote for
Birth of the Cool?
Birth of the Cool?
Yeah.
Did you vote for
I love
Beyonce?
Beyonce too, but no, I voted for Uncle Miles.
You did the right thing.
Oh,
You
yeah.
did the right thing. What is it we're going to find out in this documentary that we don't know about Miles Davis?
I guess that depends on what you know, but I mean, you'll find out that he was, he was meticulous about his bands, about his putting bands together, having the band grow, improvise. What would he used to say? He used to say, "Pay you guys to rehearse on the stage, not they don't." He wanted stuff coming out. He didn't want everything to get blown in rehearsals. He wanted all the spontaneity, all the good
Oh, so
things.
when you say rehearse on the stage, I want you to rehearse during the performance.
Yeah, create on the stage.
Yeah, because after a few years, I think he got tired of formulaic material, and he said, "This is just a sketch of the tune. Just do your thing."
He was like Allen Iverson. Practice.
Right.
Practice.
Like in the studio, after one or two takes, if he didn't get it then, he would call the sessions. Because he felt like you had the best energy early in the session, and he was one of the only artists that could let the tape run. Now when you go in the studio, you have to like cut your song and get out.
Right.
But he would let the tape. He always said there was a song inside of a song, so a session might go for an hour, one song like an hour or hour and a half, just playing.
Did you actually play for Miles Davis?
Yeah, we both did. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you played, Erin.
Yeah.
I thought just Vince played. So you played with your father.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
Well, I'd already been on the road.
Vince, answer that damn phone.
I know.
Who is calling? We on the Tammi Mac.
I'm on the Tammi Mac show. Would you
Please,
call back?
let her know. Let her know. Let her know you on the show. How did it feel? How was it playing?
Oh,
with your
well,
mother?
I'd spent a lot of summers on the road crew before that, setting up and, setting up all the instruments and everything. And then when I graduated from high school, he said, "Okay, you're going to be in the band. I'm sending you a ticket." And I was like, "Okay." Just drafted immediately. So I went, and it wasn't drums. It was electronic percussion. So it was like a percussionist, like a hand drummer, but it was all electronic stuff.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, I kind of had to figure it out. There was a guy that had been playing it before me, John Bingham, and for him, he was very comfortable with it. For me, I was like, I need a drum kit. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know. So I tried to figure it out. But I mean, it was so fun, being in the band, being in the crew was fun. When Vince was in the band, I was in the crew.
Was it fun being with your father, or was that a difficult time? Because your mother and father weren't together, were they?
No, they weren't together. But being on the road with him was like, I waited all year to do that. Like, that's probably why I didn't do so good in school, because I just kept looking towards the summer. Like, I'm going on the road, get done with school so I can go on the road. And then, like I said, when I graduated, he drafted me into the band. Which I wasn't expecting that.
Nice band to be drafted into and to learn from Miles Davis. We have a question on the floor.
Hi, my name is Marcus. You talk about being on the road and going on tour. What was the most dynamic moment you had with your father or your uncle on tour?
I don't know. That's a good question. For me, it was probably just my first 10 shows playing in the band.
Just playing in the band.
I had solos I had to take on this. I didn't know what I was just. But he was so cool about it, because he gave me so much time to get comfortable and then to grow, and I appreciate that. I mean, I thought, man, I was like, after the first 2 shows, like, he's gonna send me home. This is not working. This is not good.
You seem a little more laid back about it, though, Vince. So what was the most memorable moment with you working with your Uncle Miles?
I was just ready. We played Giant Stadium with 75,000 people. It was the Amnesty Tour. And you didn't have time to be nervous. You just, the countdown, that was it. And that was the fun. You have that adrenaline, and after the first song, that was it. You're in it.
I was nervous.
And he had a way of just, let's go. And you can't say no, and you can't think about, you have to be quick, you You can't second guess yourself because he'd eat you up and replace you.
Oh wow,
So,
replace you.
yeah.
That's
Quickly.
strong. Yeah, that's strong.
Double Gemini.
Thank you so much for your question, Marcus.
Quickly.
Appreciate that. Where can we find the documentary? Where will we be able to see it and when?
It'll be on PBS.
Black
on
History.
American Masters for Black History Month. I think February 25th is the premiere on PBS.
Why they be relegating us to Black History Month? This is like
Well, you know, it ran. You know, this is like the second. It ran
the
from
afterlife.
cinemas.
oh, this is the afterlife of
Yeah,
it,
because we did Sunday, we did all film festivals. All over, we were in Africa.
right?
You know, it was beautiful, and then it goes to PBS, and then Netflix, and then DVD.
Okay, I didn't even know they still made DVDs. Then,
Yeah,
so.
with Blu-ray.
Blu-ray. Do they really?
8 tracks.
Do they? VHS.
Right.
Okay. So